now I have to restart Santos so that we pretend like this didn't happen.
All right.
Yeah, go.
All right.
Take
cool.
it away.
All right. Hey, everyone. My name is Santos Hernandez. I'm going to give an announcement today on NBD. So if you're not familiar with NBD, NBD is Zebedee's open source initiative. Roughly 2 years ago, I attended 3 years ago? No, this is third TabConf, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. We all came out to TabConf and had awesome conversations, a lot of workshops. I was relatively new to working within the Bitcoin space. At that time, I had been working for Zebedee, I think roughly 8 months or 6 months, something like that. And had some really awesome conversations about philosophy, education, and politics, of course, money. And that led me to be inspired and have a lot of different ideas about something I've been thinking about for a long time. And I ended up building a proof of concept out of that conference. And it essentially was just this. It was the ability to create resources, like educational resources, and this is what it looked like at the time. So very bare bones. You had a title, a description, and a Bitcoin price. And from there, you could create it. Once you created it, you could purchase it with cents or a Lightning invoice, or as we call charges at Zebedee. So very basic implementation. And from that idea, I started thinking about, what's possible with education. Then the following year at TabConf last year, Andre announced NBD, our open source initiative. A little bit about NBD. NBD has tackled some big problems: Nostr, Lightning address, hosted channels, and a wallet called OBW. So part of NBD values are open source, sovereign, interoperable, and sophisticated. So what am I talking about today? So that was a bit of the history of different TabConfs and what's led me to here today, and some of the things that I personally value. So the what in educational marketplace powered by Lightning with a lightweight learning management system, emeralize. So I ended up continuing to build this project over the last few years, and now it's a fully functional MVP in beta stage. And the goal, the mission of emeralize is to obsolete the education system. And the why we want to do that is the education system is fundamentally flawed, and we want to take baby steps to move towards a free and open education system. The vision is that learning should be driven by passion, curiosity, and focused on the learning experience rather than focused on learning a particular subject matter or grade level 1 through 12, where everyone is moving at the same pace. Some people are moving much faster, and as a consequence has to be slowed down. Some folks are moving slower than what the pace of the class is for any particular subject matter, but it doesn't matter because the rest of the class is moving forward. You're kind of subject to a particular teacher's mood that day, and it depends largely on the zip code that you live in based on the property tax, how well your school is funded. So my vision is just to do away with most of that and just focus on the educational experience and letting the learner drive their education, so it's, or even parents, so it's entirely self-directed. So some of my inspiration in building this was you never change things by fighting the existing reality. Change something, you build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. So the school system has been running the way that it has for 100 years, if not longer at this point. And that too is just an experiment. This education hasn't always been done in the system of public schooling either. then the next quote that I have is, the minute you begin doing something you really want, it's a different kind of life. And lastly, the most important of all limitations on knowledge creation is that we cannot predict the content of ideas yet created or their effects. This limitation is not consistent with unlimited growth of knowledge. It is entailed by it. So like, what does all that mean? Well, I think with Bitcoin and Bitcoin's Lightning Network, it allows us to monetize the discovery of knowledge and information. So now you actually have an incentive to explore new topics and document them, just as many of us are doing today in Bitcoin. We're exploring and building new applications and use cases, not possible due to this fact that we have this magic internet money now. So we're already beginning to see this with Zebedee Social, where you can create a post or a particular piece of content, you can do a live stream, you can post a video and earn sats, on these various different social applications powered by Nostr or Lightning, similar to that of Zebedee Social. So now imagine, each like is worth some fractions of a penny, if not pennies, and you have millions and billions of people that can potentially send you this money and build this circular economy out. So I think, that's kind of an interesting use case applied to the documentation and discovery of new knowledge and giving that incentive. So now you have the actual incentive to monetize the discovery of knowledge, as well as enable creators to pursue their passion and their dreams. For example, previously, it would never have been thought possible that you could earn a living by posting gardening images on the internet. But now we see tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people are actually making a living by running these blogs, creating this content, and Lightning only further enables that, is what I believe. So, thinking about all of this, given the fact that creators and educators have this incentive and everyone knows something that you don't know, we can create all of this content. We already have a significant portion of all of this content. So now learners can be driven by curiosity, passion, and mastery of subjects and move beyond just specialization of one particular skill that I think we'll see a future where you'll learn and master multiple skills, not just one particular skill that you'll earn a living with for the rest of your life. So that was kind of the thing that I was trying to solve with emeralize and begin building towards. But there was a fundamental problem with the approach that I was taking. Knowledge is meant to be free, and it's meant to be translated, it's meant to be built on top of, adjusted, tested. Whereas if you have a marketplace that is purely based on featured content and then limited discovery of other informational content, as well as limiting the ability to create other marketplaces that people want to run and tinker with this code and make adjustments and try different things. If you don't have that, then the amount of variations that exist is very limited, or people are building from scratch and paywalling their content. So instead, I kind of face these problems. Before I get into the solution, I was inspired. I attended Qubit Plus earlier this year, and I was really inspired by a particular company out there called the Qubit Bitcoin. Hopefully I didn't brutally butcher their name, but yeah, this guy Roxy gave a talk, and he was talking about open source and how he took his approach to building sovereign university. And I thought that was really interesting because he had over 40 different contributors that was creating Bitcoin education, financial education, and I thought this would be ultimately the best approach to creating as much knowledge as possible. And then with the mechanism like Zaps, you can actually begin to build the web of trust like Keon was talking about yesterday, along with testing other variations of discovery of content. So I thought that was pretty fascinating. Then learning that all the students are also limited by the opportunity of what language a piece of content is. So in order to actually begin participating in these boot camps, you need to know English at an advanced or master level. in order to begin delving into this content, because most of the educational content, especially as it relates to building, is in English. So if information is paywalled, it's sparse and it's spread out, then how do you, enable this educational content to have the highest number of developers, creators, and builders if it's behind a paywall that people are not going to see, they're not going to be able to explore, they're not going to be able to tinker with the platform itself. So the solution that I came to was to open source it. So I've been working on this project for like roughly the last 2 years, and let's go. So now everyone can actually go and build Emeralize. Thank you. Everyone can actually go and build Emeralize. So it's available on the NBD repo. This is like my first major contribution to NBD, but it has a learning management system, content management system, marketplace, wallet and transaction system, paywall support if you want to try that, value for value, tipping, payment splitting on courses and ebooks, Bitcoin Lightning payments, and automatic withdrawals to Lightning address. So I built this code base on the Django web framework. It has a few applications. It has the main project settings in the Emeralize folder, accounts, so you have registration, login, reset password, and more. Out the box, you have the critical path application, which is the learning management system of the app. You have the marketplace. This is where e-commerce, the wallet, and transactional features live. And there's, there's a few other things in there, but those are kind of the major applications that are available. Other use cases that you can consider using this code base for is blogs. So you can create content, you can prioritize the featured content and curate your own sort of blog and enable Lightning payments and tipping out the box just by not using some of the other functionality. You could use it for e-commerce, you could tweak some things, add shipping information, or just sell informational-based products for yourself and a few other people that I've talked to are interested in using it for this use case. We have the learning management system, so you can already out the box view content, have like a content editor. I don't know how to say this, but like Wasiji editor is always what I call it. So yeah, you have all this functionality. And then I wrote a detailed guide if anyone's interested in trying to spin one up in the local environment. I tested this myself, but it always helps to have someone else run through it. And also like all the database functionality. So that's pretty much the announcement today. The next steps, I want to fix some bugs. I want to refactor the learning management system part of the application. I want to add Nostr support, and when you create content, to have it automatically broadcasted as like a long form note, and a reputation system along with certificates and badges. And maybe even just fork it or do another branch for like a standalone Lightning Network e-commerce solution. So that's it. That's my talk for today. Thanks everyone for all of your support. Like all throughout this journey, people have supported me, given me advice.
What content do you have on there right now?
Right now we have Club Lab courses, Club Dev. You want me to show it?
Show the tab, brother.
Yeah, so we have like a plethora of courses already available on Emeralize if you want to try it out. But the database doesn't come with the courses. You have to like recreate all this stuff, but this is what's available. You can explore and see how this works if you are interested in using it yourself. So yeah, now you can basically, clone it, use it as your own Lightning Network e-commerce solution. All the Lightning payments are powered by Zebedee. You could potentially even change it to a different provider if you wanted to. You could fork it, use it for blogging, for homeschooling, all these different various use cases. So thank you, everyone here for your support. Thank you, Heidi, my lovely wife, for always supporting me. Andre, of course, for always being a great mentor and leader, teacher. And Pia Jopp, even though, you know, Pia Jopp is an AI, so gotta give praise to the AI, because otherwise, like, AI is gonna take over and destroy everything, so. But yeah, my team at Zebedee too, like, everyone was always very supportive in terms of like ideas and like giving me that extra motivation that I needed to continue pursuing this project and building it. Definitely was not easy. Car and Pleb Lab. Car was actually the first person that reached out to me and published a course, which really helped me out a lot and gave me like some traction, you know, to say, okay, this might be something. And then all the amazing people, again, I did mention like Brian also helped me out quite a bit by giving me advice and such. So yeah, thank you everyone. Sorry if I forgot anybody, but know that I appreciate you. Peace.
Hey, what are we gonna do now?
Keon's talk next.
God.